All right, guys. So looking at what's transpired, we were on point with the drop. I expected a bigger drop than we had, but it was still to the downside. People probably closed out of short positions right at the open. If you haven't closed out of the open, it looks like one thing that probably I might have misread is it looks like there's probably a peak, then a trough, then another peak. So if you haven't closed out of the short, you feel like you missed the opportunity. You might not have missed the opportunity. There might actually be another one in here. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin after this, and then we'll take a few questions and answers. This is a regular scheduled time. If you're new to the channel, we usually do 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Mondays. Got on a little bit late today, but our regularly scheduled time is 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Mondays. We actually do this 6 days a week, different times, and there's a schedule posted on our Discord, our public Discord channel. So right now, what I'm looking for before we head into Bitcoin, the reason why I haven't swapped into Bitcoin yet is because I'm looking for the timing on this trade that's coming pretty soon. What we just saw here is this Rowan is my sense, which means that there's the drop afterwards, and we do have price swings right around the open as well. So keep that in mind. That's the Dominion card here. So we should probably go into a bit of a drop. My chat is being a little weird. I'm not seeing any messages. I mean, I'm not seeing the box where the messages would show up. This is very strange. Oh, there we go. Now we should be good. So again, just to reiterate what I was saying last night is that if you miss the first opportunity to close the short position, not to worry. Don't chase, like, don't close out at the wrong time. There's going to be another opportunity a little bit later. But really, there's two trades going on, right? So we want to exit the short from that we opened up the close on Friday. Right around here. And if we time it well, at the same time we want to open up a long for a quick day trade. This is Hermes too, if you're new to the channel. He's the channel mascot and my bestie. Right? You're a good boy, right? Okay, you wanna go to sleep? You wanna go back to sleep? And his older brother is here visiting, actually. I should show you guys. His name is Bijou. Right. So overall for the day, right, we've got this cross root incongruency here on the 1 month with this coin. Taking place on the same day. So if you're just joining us, guys, I'm going to get into Bitcoin in just a moment, take some questions and answers. If you're new to the channel, this is a members only live stream we do regularly Monday mornings, usually from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. I got in a little bit late today. And normally I'd be looking at Bitcoin already, but we're in the midst of timing a trade that we opened on Friday afternoon, and we've advised people to close in the morning here. All right, Hermes, go ahead. I gotta work, buddy. I'll go get Bijou in a minute so you guys can meet his older brother. Right, but so we've got the cross root incongruency. We should have a notable move higher early on that turns into a sharp decline. And we'll probably don't want to chase that decline either. Yeah, there's a cash out ruin for the decline as well. It actually looks like that opportunity to close out of the short. Where are you, buddy? Yeah, so that dip there might have been the first opportunity to close out of the short. So what I would say is that if that's happened, we're looking for the opportunity to add to a short or open a short here. One minute chart can be a little bit misleading because it's so erratic. I like to look at the 5 minute. We might actually still be going to the downside. Yeah, I might have actually spoken a little too soon because looking at it from the 5 minute chart, just like I said, 1 minute chart can be a little misleading. Looking at it from the 5 minute chart, it does look like we've got more downward momentum to go first before we move to the upside. When we move to the upside, we'll probably see like a breakthrough this right here. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. Like you want to exit out of the short around that price level there. If we meet it again, if uh, before we have to move to the upside. If we have to move to the upside and we don't come back down to that price level, I would say we'll see it relatively soon, like maybe a little bit lower even before noontime. But I think we're probably going lower first here. Is DOT? Hey Robert. Excuse me. Is DOT Polkadot Crypto getting ready to make a move? I'll take a look at that for you in a moment. And come to think of it, guys, reading it again, I probably wouldn't hop in the long for the day trade. I'd look for that second day trade opportunity, which is where we want to hop into a short before we meet that low. The hopping into the long might be a little risky. It is kind of a sideways day based on the Queen of Discs, but sometimes there's a pretty sharp drop in there. This might actually go a bit lower. Does this go lower? Yeah, goes a bit lower here. And we've just about hit that price range. So even if we're a little bit early on it, I would say, oh, here. Yeah, so when we're about smack in the center of that ellipse, that's where I would say close out of the short. Don't open a long as previously suggested. It's a little bit too risky. There's opportunity again at the... And this is another thing, guys. This indicates that we'll see the low again, or we'll see a lower price level even than the previous low. So when we're right about here, that's where I would say pull the trigger on the short. All right, so while that's happening, guys, keep an eye on that ellipse. I'm going to take a look at Bitcoin real quick. Right, so if you missed previous live stream, I was saying that with SO Meta, sometimes you're a little bit off. There's like plus or minus a little bit of wiggle room, but the sequence of events will remain the same. So when you have a situation like this where the ellipse is missed, but we hit that price range in the not too distant future, it's obvious. It's an obvious thing. I think hopefully it's an obvious thing for most people here that you'd want to close out because we're within that price range there. So that was a solid trade, guys. Anybody with the monthly access subscription on our website was watching these ellipses as they were actually drawn on the chart, because they've got the live updated trading view chart link, and they're following along with these Discord trade alerts as well. Right, and so here on the 7th, what we're expecting was this move into a key resistance level. And it looks like it was that science card as expected. The science card's a little bit higher than where it should be right now. But it looks like that's pretty much what it's going to be. It could end up being this purple line, but I think probably this is more realistic reading the truce card, is we're going to meet this key resistance, a swords energy, which the truce card and the science card are both swords energy. And from that, we shouldn't hang out at the resistance. We should turn around and move to the downside pretty sharply based on the truce card, and that'll be in relation to the movement that's already taken place today on Bitcoin. Now that right there could have been it, but I think, matter of factly, there's price swings, if anything, and then this big move. This is probably it. This was the pop to the resistance, roughly. And then there was this pretty notable drop back down. What we're looking for now is the decline off of it. Well, if you're in a long position, not a bad place to exit out, right? Like I showed you on the multi-day chart, or excuse me, on the multi-day chart. And what we're looking for is like this quick opportunity. I'm gonna move this over because it's kind of like the beginning of another trade. I'm just going to use that. How far now? Let's see here. I'm just through deduction determining how much of a decline we have ahead of us before this decline is going to be an opportunity to open up a long position again. Just to reiterate. Oops. right? So if we do end up in this circle, I'm not always right, guys, but the plan is, if you're following along here with our monthly access subscription, if the price level enters within this range here, that will be a signal to enter into a long, to close out of in the not too distant future. Probably same day, actually. Excuse me. All right, I think people probably should have closed out of that. Yeah, okay, so that was that first opportunity. I was just typing that in for everybody. That was that first opportunity to close out of the short. If you missed that opportunity, there will be another opportunity. It's probably a better one, but the thing is you have to be a little bit seasoned here because the market's going to move against our position pretty notably here. What my cards are advising us to do is actually add to the short position in the midst of this move to the upside, which could go. It's not going to be as high as the high here. But most likely it won't be. But what'll happen is I'm just gonna hush up and watch what happens, and then I'll guide you guys when it becomes a little bit clearer, because we're kind of like in between directions here. It could go either way because we've got so much back and forth going on in the reading. But most likely what we're looking for is opportunity to add to the short or open up a short here for a day trade, or to add to the swing trade from Friday. We're gonna close it very, very shortly after doing so. All right, so hey, it was like, hey AV. So guys, if you're new to the channel, you want to ask questions, it's unlimited questions. All you got to do is be a member of the channel. We do these live streams 6 days a week usually, sometimes 5, but usually 6. It's $50 a month, free, or not free, but $50 a month, unlimited questions on our live streams, and it's just for members to ask. You go to our YouTube channel, Tarot for Traders, sign up by clicking on join, sign up for the supporter badge, which is the $50 a month badge, and that gets you access. How does BA look for the long today and an exit tomorrow? And guys, I'm going to cap the questions here just because I got on so late. I still have to roll. So much stuff going on. So much stuff going on with this end of year rush, and then the high holidays. My family's in town, and then we've got like crazy like deaths and people in the hospital. It's like just been madness. I wonder if other people are experiencing crazy stuff too. Yeah, so this is an example of what appears to be a failed trade. Although it's not necessarily off the table yet. No, matter of fact, we nailed it. What am I talking about? That's not a failed trade. Right there, we nailed it. Look at that ellipse. This one made us think we had a failed trade. Ugh, Baz, my man, yikes. I wish you had rolled out those expiration dates, because that would have been a juicy trade, my man. Anyhow, so I advise people to enter into long position in Boeing here. If you've got if you've got the total access pass on our website, Terra for Traders, then you had access to this chart. Enter into long positions here for this multi-day, and then on a shorter term, you could exit out of the short today, or excuse me, out of the long today, or you could risk it and hold it into most likely where we see this territory. I'm going to bring this down a little bit based on that moving average, that 200-day moving average. Let me just advise my friends, my total access friends. But that is a solid trade. I'm just going to do this real quick on a different page here. All right, guys, sorry about that. A little time consuming at times to do these alerts, but these people are paying good money for the alerts, so I'm not going to let them down. All right, let's get into this Boeing. How did I get IOTA on the screen with that? The 2025 IOTA reading is actually coming out this week. The tonic reading as well, 2025 tonic. These are readings that if you've got total access pass on our website, you've got access into those. So the question, if you're just joining us, the question is, does Boeing look like a long today with an exit tomorrow? Well, this is where I have an exit really for Boeing. But I mean, if you want to play a longer term play, I don't know, maybe tomorrow you might be able to, let's see, but if you wanted to hold it longer than tomorrow, it would be a smart move. Definitely not. I'm getting, for today, I'm getting the Princess of Wands, which means you're going to want to close out of longs. And I don't know about open up shorts because it does look pretty bullish the remainder of the week, so my sense is that we probably decline here into the end of the day. and or have a drop overnight, and then another rally tomorrow out of that lower price level. So you might wait until tomorrow to do it, to open up the long. Yeah, so I'm actually seeing this move to the upside likely turning into a sharp decline today, and in the midst of that decline, that would be an advisable time to open up a long for an overnight swing. Will China market pull back this week or next week? We've got kind of a flat thing going on throughout October. Yeah, it looks like there's support. There's support that we're gonna find. Hold on a sec here. What the heck just happened? I don't know what the ticker is for this. I guess that's it, right? SSD. Whoa. What in the hell? That's huge. What is going on there? That, you know what that looks like to me? People getting confidence in Chinese market and fearful of the US market based on the coming military intensity. But I've got kind of a flat thing going on there. We find some sort of support, it looks like this first week of October, and then there's a breakout, it looks like in the second week of October. So the fact that we're already at these price levels, we probably come back down a bit. Let's see. Well, it looks like we're gonna find a significant, we're gonna establish support at a pretty high level, like not far from where we are. Then probably more movement to the upside in the second week. In the third week, we have a pretty big move to the downside. More movement to the downside in the fourth week, and then there's a little bit of opportunity in the following week. So very end of October, very likely. Will HIMS hit $25 by January? Actually, I think I might have one for that. Nope. Oh, I had it. There, boom. So the question is, will it hit $25 by January? I mean, based on the chart technicals, there's a possibility. It does look like we go higher before we go lower here, but let's see what the cards have to say. I got a yes for that. Remember, when trading SO meta analysis, guys, do not trade based on price levels as entry and exits. Use them as like guiding, like for a range around 25, right? Let's see if we can pinpoint when that happens. So it looks like it's in December. Pretty mixed behavior in December, and there's going to be an important technical price level marked off by unicursal there in December in the midst of some mixed sideways behavior. So, which means that in January we probably fall through that price level. If you're new to the channel, these green ellipses on the chart indicate where I expect to see some sort of peak or crest form. Amazon, sure thing. And then I'm gonna take a look at DOT for Robert as well. Where am I going here? All right, so this Amazon reading is looking pretty solid. Let's see, what was the question? Am I expecting a high in Amazon tomorrow? If so, this might be a good place to go long. Yeah, so this reading looks extremely accurate. First off, we have a prominent peak and a prominent trough taking place there on the first. We go into a lowest low on the third. I have it for the second, so off by a day. Actually, matter of fact, I read that wrong. See that? That's actually indicating here that it would be on the third. One sec, guys. Hey guys, sorry about that. I needed to change my earphones. Ran out of power. All right. So, is there a high tomorrow? Probably. It's more likely to be the beginning of the day on the 9th. Now, what's interesting about today is we should have two local lows. And what I mean by that is when you look at a 1 day chart, you should see two troughs that form. When the day is over, there should be two troughs that stand out prominently. And overall, there's both a breakout on a multi-day scale and a rally into key resistance on a multi-day scale, followed by a decline with consecutively lower spikes up on the way down. And you'll get those two troughs in the midst of that. So the breakout probably comes afterwards, like after the decline. There's probably this breakout that continues through the 8th. Yeah, especially because we were higher the previous day. Yeah, I wouldn't advise it here, even though it looks like it from the standpoint of the 1 month reading. I've learned the hard way the lesson many times to follow the trade guidance and just stick to the trade guidance, because there's reasons why, you know, it'll look like a good trade, but there's no guidance telling you to trade there because there's something that we're not seeing that makes it maybe not as great a trade as it looks. In any case, I'm not really getting guidance to open up a long here. It looks like you could, so you seem to be somebody with a bit more of a speculative kind of mentality, like you're more open to risk. So you might throw some money into it. It might work out, but personally, I would stick to the guidance of these cards at all times, almost all times. Sometimes I get a little, oh, I want to try this. But yeah, there should be a high around the cusp of the 8th, 9th. But in any case, this has been a really solid reading thus far. So that low there, and then we go from the lowest low thus far into a highest high thus far. It looks like this right here. No, that's a little bit too low. Well, in any case, this likely means that there's a lower price level, because this isn't marked off as the lowest low, really. There's no indication of it, and we were seeing the same price level, so clearly we're going to go lower at some point. But overall, I think there's a breakout here, at least temporarily. Matter of fact, this is it. It's like this over the next 2 or 3 days is the breakout that this month is talking about. And it's not a lasting breakout, to be clear. A lot of the readings for October are really funky in that, like, there's so much behavior in both directions taking place that the theme card, no matter what direction it's going, it seems a little bit out of place in most of these readings. It's a really interesting month. Lot of learning to be done by myself here. That type of thing's exciting for me when I see opportunity to learn more. All right, so that was Amazon, and then the last one here before I roll. All right, so last question before I roll, guys. DOT Polkadot getting ready to make a move up in the next few days. And if you're hopping on late, guys, we covered S&P 500, we covered Bitcoin, we covered the China market, we covered Boeing. There was a good trade in Bitcoin. There's a good trade in Boeing. We covered Amazon, HIMS, and finally we're gonna cover Polkadot. Which, what do I have it as? Do I have it as DOT? Oh, I wonder if I don't have one for 2024. Wow, okay, I don't have one for 2024. Anyhow, so let's do one. This is something that's covered by Total Access in 2025. So if you've got the Total Access Pass on our website, Tarot for Traders, you'll have access to the live updated Trading View chart whenever I update it, and any Discord trade alerts that I might put up. Looks like we do have something already scheduled in here for DOT, which might be why Robert is asking about this. So, yikes! It does look like we might have more downside looking at the RSI and the chart, but let's see what the cards have to say here. Okay, so let me back up. I was looking at a weekly candlestick charts, thinking it was dailies. So let me retract my last statement. This does look more bullish looking at the RSI now, from the standpoint of like near term. Overall, this is to the downside in October, but the next few days, make that a bit easier to see. See, this isn't good. We're kind of like hanging out. I would say this is the support right here. We're kind of like hanging out below it at this point. But again, it does look kind of like RSI wise bullish. So let's see on a weekly basis through our October what happens here. So overall, because it's to the downside for October, I wouldn't advise looking for bullish trades here. But if you want to look at it by the week, the first week of October, we've got 3 pokes through the same trend line and then a sharp drop off of that third poke. The second week of October is more bullish. We've got a rally along a diagonal trend line that breaks through horizontal resistance, meets another resistance before pulling back to somewhere between those 2 price levels. From that rally in the second week, at some point there's a notable decline, either starting in the second week and moving into the third week, or starting in the early part of the third week. But out of the decline, there's a big move from the bottom of the range to the top of the range on a multi-day scale in the third week. So that'll be like overall bullish. And then you may be able to close out of a long position in the fourth week. And then with a little bit of the fifth that we've got going on there will be to the upside. But again, for October overall, it's to the downside. So somewhere in the midst of all that, there should be a really significant move to the downside taking place. Which is why I don't advise to do a long trade here. In any case, guys, that's it for Monday morning. Much love and appreciation, everybody watching. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. And if you're new to the channel, our next live stream, our next regularly scheduled live stream will be tomorrow between 3 and 4 p.m. Eastern time. Unlimited questions for members. If you're not a member, you're kind of new to the channel, you want to ask some questions, see how things go, I advise you to check out one of our 8 p.m. sessions, because those are subscriber only rather than members only. And our 8 p.m. sessions are on Wednesdays from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern, and Sundays from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. All right, guys, much love. Blessings to all my angel investors. You know where to go, you know what to do. We're counting on you here at Tarot for Traders and Investor Profit. Blessings to all my angel investors.